All right, welcome to Getting to After. My name is Chatone Morrison. This is my co-host.
Morgan Bustos. Hi.
And we were trying to get started, and before we could even get started, we had to press the pause button. Morgan, what is going on over there?
Okay, so my youngest son decided that he was going to make bacon for the first time with a cast iron. Like we typically make it in the oven, but mommy was recording for y'all, right? Spending time. And so he's like, I'm gonna make my mom some bacon. Yeah. The whole house, like all of a sudden, it was like burnt offerings. He's like, I'm gonna treat you like a god and give you 3 burnt offerings a day. Let me start with this one, mom. The whole house. I walked down and I was like, oh my goodness, like
I
smell.
just know I heard the beeping going on, and I'm like, it's not my house. I don't have any kids cooking right now, because that's usually what happens. Sometimes my mom-in-law, because that bacon will get you every time. That's why we over here, we're not new school. Like we listen. Is it new school? Is it old school? We cook all the bacon in the microwave. I know y'all are gonna come for me. How dare I? But listen, I'm the princess of positivity, partially because we don't have smoke in the house. Just saying. Just
Just
saying. Well, welcome, Morgan. I'm so happy to talk to you. How amazing that we got through this series that we just finished. Listen, shout out to Morgan. We just finished this series called Overcoming Silence, Resilience and Rediscovery After Domestic Violence in honor of Domestic Violence Month. If you have not seen that playlist, make sure you mosey on over and check it out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because we are all about supporting midlife mamas, but we decided during the month of October to make sure that we specifically talked about domestic violence, because Morgan is a survivor of domestic violence for many years. And now she's free and she's safe and her kids are home making bacon and burning up the place. So obviously things are good, right?
They're kind of crazy.
Well, listen, I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about, both of us have battled with chronic illness. And yet we have a lot of joy. It's not easy. We have a rich spiritual life, of course, which is helpful. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have helped us to kind of get through that. I love this format, Morgan, because it's a way for us to kind of just chat and catch up, but like do it and let other people peep in. How much better could it get than this?
This is awesome. I love it.
It's
Get
great.
my Chatone time and then help people at the same time.
I know, it's amazing. So if you like, go call a friend, like text someone, tell them some midlife mamas here are going to be talking about chronic illness. We do love the modality of emotional freedom technique, so we're going to show you a little bit what that looks like. But it's more than that. It's so much about your mindset when you have chronic illness. Now, chronic illness has a big range, right? So it could be everything from, a big name disease to the little diseases that are kind of hidden, that people don't know about, don't understand. We're going to talk about both today. So let's go ahead and get started. Both of us have had issues with different things all over the place. And I know that no matter what, obviously we've worked with Mary Kay for a long time too. And, we know how to make it look good. Like I always tell people, if I ever looked the way I felt, they would run in the other direction. They would run away, because often I just feel so bad. So, some of the things that I've faced are very, very bad fibroids. I had 3 miscarriages, which we'll talk about babies another episode. The aftermath of that, of even having children after that, having to have an early hysterectomy because of the fibroids and all the issues. Then realizing that I had extremely bad endometriosis. We didn't know that was even happening. And then having the aftermath of so many times being cut and all the scar tissue, being unable to use the bathroom for almost an entire year without drugs or laxatives or enemas. These are not fun topics or fun activities. Sleeplessness, thyroid condition to no end, not fibromyalgia, that's your baby, but chronic fatigue syndrome, Epstein-Barr virus. And all that time being in a marriage, being in a ministry, working full time, working crazy hours around the clock, traveling for work around the world, keeping up with my ministry, being a writer, like there have been some days where I just felt like, how am I going to, I don't like the idea of of having a facade. I want to be authentic. And there would be so much guilt because so many times I just had to say, no, I can't do it. So sometimes my kids now at their older age, they'll say, oh, mom, remember the time? Remember the time? It happens all the time. And I don't remember because I wasn't there.
Right.
I wasn't there. So the most important things, the religious things we did, that kind of support, supporting my mom, being there, I didn't miss work. I had to bring work into the house after a
Right.
point, and I did have to eventually quit early. Thank goodness. That's the only good thing that came from it.
Mm.
Ooh, it's quitting early, but extremely hard.
So, can I ask you, like, how did you separate your identity from your illness? Because I know that's a tough one for a lot of us because we take it on as part of our personality, and this is who I am. But we, how did you do it?
I think first, I was always searching and I always felt there was going to be an answer. Not
Mm.
a cure necessarily, but that's how I got into natural. In my early 20s is when I found out that I was sick. Like that's when they first diagnosed me with Epstein-Barr virus. I was 21 years old, 22 years old, and I couldn't go from my house to two towns away. I'd have to park my car no matter where I was. As soon as I arrived someplace, put my keys under my seat, lay my chair back, and sleep. We didn't
Wow.
have cell phones, so there was no alarm to tell me when to wake up. It was scary sometimes. I would just fall asleep wherever I was. And so I knew it didn't feel normal. Of course, I was blaming myself. Must be because I'm overweight. Must be because I'm not eating the right thing. It must, I just assume the blame every single time and then keep that quiet because that's shame.
Right.
There's shame in that, right? So I
Mhm.
just think, I don't know that I separated it. I don't know that I did. I just felt like this is me, but I got to make it look good. Like I just refused to give in. The days that I had to give in, I stayed home, and those were far and few between. I was like, I'm going to make this face up. I'm going to make this hair look good. I'm going to put on this, wear the clothes. Like I was constantly buying clothes because I was gaining weight all the time and didn't know why. Like I just was like, I need to look good,
Yeah.
not for other people, but because I didn't want to give in. So I don't know that I believe I was sick and I
Mm.
didn't know why, but I also believe that I was better than my illness, so I would just keep going. So I don't know if it's about identity thing. It was just like I, I was like I was just like, I'm
Go.
not gonna stay. They can't catch me. It was catch. I was like, I'm gonna keep running. So I think it was more that.
Wow. I can relate to you in the aspect of like being so exhausted all the time. The And one thing that I've always done is the days I feel the worst, I make sure I do my hair and my makeup.
Yep.
Because if I have to walk by a mirror and see myself looking ill and feeling ill, it makes me even sicker. It drains me even more. So when you say, you kept going, like that's a lot of internal strength, you know?
You know what's funny though? I think when I first decided to start my natural journey, which was in my early 20s, I mean, now it's evolved into, emotional freedom technique and essential oils. And, I was always doing journal and affirmational work and things like that. But early in my 20s, I was like, I can't feel like this.
Mm.
And I just was out. So I started going to these health food stores. This is before the internet. You know what I'm saying? There was no internet. I called the CDC. Like while I lived in New Jersey, I called the Center for Disease Control because I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I like spoke to, I was really radically trying to find an answer. And that's before I had a naturopath, and I would go to these regular doctors and shout out to the regular doctors, but sometimes the bedside manner was horrendous and it made me feel terrible. And
Right?
it makes you sicker and sadder. And I felt like a failure all the time,
Mm.
like a failure. And so I think, having a husband that was there, he would listen. But I mean, it's hard for him to relate to what was going on. But he was there. My sister was always super supportive of me and stuff like that. But going to the health food store, like not GNC. No, shout out to GNC, but not GNC. I'm talking about like the health food store that's in the like in its hood in the corner, and it's like the person in there comes out and they're like 80, and they're gonna, I'm talking about the health food store. I'm talking about the natural store.
That's
And they
story.
told me things like stop eating white bread, stop eating white flour, stop eating white rice, take this a crazy amount of vitamin C, and I drank it in a powder. And everything they told me I did, and I started feeling incrementally better.
Mhm.
So one of the things I think for me, and if people hear this, and I know you've done this too, sometimes you have to do hard things,
Mm.
uncomfortable things, eat crazy things, give stuff up, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's
Yep.
worth it. What
Yeah.
about you? I mean, I know that when I first met you, you were a lot of pain medication. You've had lots of accidents on top of, the other illnesses you have. What I know you have fibromyalgia. How does that affect you? Because that's one of those diseases and sicknesses that I should say dis-ease that doctors kind of like, well, they're getting better about it now, but for such a long time it was such a mystery.
Well, that's because they can't pinpoint anything. So, like with the fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, it usually there's always going to be a brother or sister attached to it. So sometimes you'll have lupus, sometimes you'll have other things too. But for me, I have the fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. So with that, what that looks like is there's days I am on the top of the world, right? I can do anything, have my happy little cape on. I'm flying all over the place, right? And then there's the days where my kids have learned mommy just needs to be in bed. Like I can't do a darn thing at all. I can't do anything. I'm even to the point like when I'll have my flare-ups, my my clothes hurt so badly, just like
Wow.
touching my skin because my nerves are shooting off so and firing so rapidly that it hurts to be touched. So I have to wear like super soft clothes. I have to just be very still sometimes. The children are amazing because they've learned to how to like help mommy,
Yeah.
in the sense of okay, like we they're just amazing. Like, they know that I just need to rest. They know that they can't
Right.
ask a lot of me that day,
Right.
or if I can, it's gonna be in a quick spurt, and then
Right.
that's it. Like, I'm down for the day. Like, I can give you, like, a good hour, and then I need to rest for the day kinda
Yeah.
thing. So, yeah.
So, I mean, when you have those kind of limitations, I mean, obviously, in our series we just finished, Overcoming Silence, Resilience and Rediscovery After Domestic Violence. If you haven't seen that, make sure you tap into that series. It's very powerful, whether you're a victim of domestic violence or not, whether you're a survivor or not. It's great information, and it may be for someone you know. I remember part of you being sick was how you basically got kidnapped.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're talking about having a chronic disease and how it could literally have ended your life, not because of the dis-ease, but because of your vulnerability.
Because of it completely shutting my body down and making it so I was trapped in my own body. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
when I mean, I've known you for over 7 years, and I've watched you, ebb and flow with your health. How have you maintained joy? And I know that you're a very spiritual person and you have a rich
Mhm.
spiritual life. Some people do and some people don't. I know that's a big part of it for me. Prayer, meditation, Bible reading, thinking positively, but and knowing that God has it and stuff like that is critical. But what else?
So making sure that I'm taking time for myself is super important. Making sure that even if it's like my skincare routine, doing that for myself, making sure that I'm also uh, doing my journaling. That's
Mm.
huge, 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 huge. I reckon, like you've been
You're
telling me
faithful. You're faithful.
is like you for the last 7 years. You're like, are you writing in your book? Are you writing in your journal? And it made such a big difference because being able to get it from like your head and your heart out of on your hand, like literally writing it, it does something different than even typing sometimes. So being able to do that
Yeah,
has been great.
kinesthetic.
Yeah,
Kinesthetic. Look, don't let me shout out my book. I'm just gonna hold it up.
just
Just for anyone who doesn't have it, it's still available on Amazon. Listen,
amazing.
bit.ly/fat and happy book. Um, Great journaling in here.
Yep. Absolutely amazing. And in your book, I appreciated that you always have us do like 3 to 5 different things that we're just grateful for that day. But not even it doesn't even have to be like grateful for like it can be like, oh, I love how I'm looking out the window right now, and the trees are just swaying in the wind, kind of thing. just enjoying those tiny little moments in time and being grateful for it. That's super important. Um, being able to definitely work on myself with like the different kinds of like the color therapy, and then also the EFT and some other things have been really helpful to help manage,
Yeah.
learn how to manage
Yeah, because
what's
we're not talking about a cure. I mean, for me, if I were to go all the way back, I was just willing to try anything, and I think that's a part of not giving up. I just would try anything. I remember one of my friends, weren't super close, but once she found out the illnesses I was dealing with, she looked at me one day and she said, "How are you still working? You're
right.
working and traveling, and you do like, how are you doing that?" She says she had fibromyalgia and a few other illnesses, and she's like, "I had to quit. My husband just had to do it." I was raised differently, and my mom was like, "Work and have your own money." Like that was just a thing. My husband gave me every indication he was going to take care of me, but my mama was like, "You better work and have your own money." So I figured it out. And I was grateful when I was able to make those adjustments and start working from home, because
Mhm.
even my monthly cycle was so bad from the time I was a teenager. Who knew? It's probably since 15, I had endometriosis. Who knew that you're not supposed to bleed like that? Like, I didn't know. And one of our friends, our mutual friend, Morgan, had no idea because her mom didn't tell her. So that you're not, so then she did have to have a hysterectomy when she was trying to get pregnant and
Wow.
actually get in vitro. She realized, they were like, "Your uterus is riddled with cysts and fibroids." And so it's just so heartbreaking because she wanted to be a mom so badly. And so
Mm.
sometimes you're in a chronic illness situation, you don't even know it. And but there's this guilt that's attached to it because of the things you can't do, of the things you can't do. What I mean, have you had that? I know
Well,
you
no, I
have.
was gonna ask you that. Like I know that I deal with the guilt of not being able to do everything I used to be able to do. Because like back in the day, dude, like I was fierce, you know? I mean, I did everything under the sun, had an like an unbelievable amount of energy constantly.
Yeah.
So
No.
to go from that to I can't move, like I need help getting up to go to the bathroom because I am that weak, kind of thing. I struggle with that a lot. Do you?
I don't know that I was ever there. I mean, I was better than I am now, but sadly, if I think about it, I will get emotional. Sadly, I've never felt that good. Like I just didn't know. And maybe sometime in the future, I'll talk about, my mom was on a drug when she was pregnant with me. I found out later on that the girls who were born, that during that period of time in the late 60s, a lot of babies were born deformed. A lot of them were born with all sorts of illnesses, and most of the girls were sterile. So the fact that I have two babies is a miracle. We didn't find that out. I found that out, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, like just before the pandemic is when I found that out. And so it was a drug they would give for nausea. My mom was so nauseous when she had me. So the thing is the fact that I literally, when I'm not in pain, I forget immediately that I'm ever sick. So I
Mm.
think that to me is a complete disconnection of absorbing it and letting it be a part of me. Um, Most people who know me, follow me, etc., know that I've been battling ankle pain
Yes.
for years, and
Mm.
just in the last month, like 3 weeks, my left ankle has not hurt. And I still get out of bed gingerly, and I don't want to put my weight on it because I got to wait for it to, you know, it kind of is like I got to ask permission. Are you going to move today? I got
Mhm.
to ask, got to send an email to my ankle to
Right.
ask permission. Are you going to work for me today or not? And I don't
Mm.
have to send the email anymore, like not even a text message. And I'm so shocked. And I'm just like, is this real? But what happens is eventually I'll get to a point, that one has been a part of my life every day for so many years, that I'm still kind of asking permission. Are you good?
Yeah.
But other parts of my body, like the going to the bathroom and stuff like that, which I've done stuff that I won't say on the internet in order to use the bathroom in a public place. That was so embarrassing and so drastic, but I refuse to stop living.
Mm,
I refused to not worship. I refused to not be in ministry. And I
mm.
had to do ridiculous things to just urinate, just being for real, for real. Midlife women, we got to be for real, for real. And so just hard. So a lot of guilt, a lot of feeling like it's never going to get better than this. But yet there'll be this little point, like it's also going to get better than this. You know what I mean? It's weird. They
Well,
both kind of coexist.
right? Do you feel that it was, like, super important for you in those times to be able to communicate, like, effectively with those around you so that they could get like, help you and realize, "Okay, yeah, mommy looks like this. I'm" you know, but
Yeah.
inside, I'm really, really struggling.
I think that not for nothing, because you were, last several years, you haven't been married, you haven't lived with a husband. There's a little bit of a difference because they have to rely on you. In the last several years of me being sick, not only did I have my husband living here, of course, but my mother-in-law too. So I
Mm,
had different kind of backup. So I didn't have to communicate anything. It was like I just didn't come downstairs. They just knew that I
okay,
wasn't good. It
okay.
was really the people outside of my family who the judgment, like, you just don't show up, or you always say no, or, you know, I'm not at the Super Bowl party. It almost it felt like, because when I'm good, I'm so good. And when I'm not good, I disappear. Then a lot of people only saw me good. So then what would happen is there's that guilt of them. It was like a lot of shaming.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, again, shout out to all the women who look good when they're sick, because what happens is you don't get no love.
You don't get the acknowledgement, right? Because we're constantly okay and showing that we're okay to the world, we don't get the reassurance and the affection
The
and the,
compassion or the
"Hey,
empathy.
are you okay? Let me hug you." Like, "What can I do to help you?" Kind of
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like, not realizing that we need help too. Just because we're doing it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be helpful to have something taken off our plate, you know?
But I do think that, to answer your question, communicating. So I've learned to be more open. I mean, it's nothing like what you've been through with DV, but I have learned to be open for two reasons. One, I actually really one reason. It's not even for me, because I actually have a support system. Okay. It's for the other people,
Mm,
because I meet people all the time. I met someone yesterday. I was in ministry down in Virginia yesterday, and I was with someone. She looked amazing. I hadn't seen her for a few months. It's like, girl, you are killing it. She's 60 years old. And she said, I slept 3 hours. I said, why are you here? She said, because I made a vow and I wanted to do it. And I said, okay, well, how are you feeling? Like, what can I do? Can I rub your back? And she basically was just breaking down that because of, not wanting to get dependent on drugs and things like that, she really tries not to take anything. And because she looks so good, people don't know. And so
mm.
I was just kind of just mentoring her around why it's so important to speak up, not just to your husband, to other people around you. They may not have an answer, but they can make an allowance. And so communication for me is literally to support and empower somebody else, because that's the name of the game for me. I, I was with an older gentleman yesterday who was having gallbladder issues. His gallbladder was bothering him. He's 80 years old. So he
Mm.
goes, we were together. He's like, I'm going to sit down for a little bit in ministry. And I just, my back was up for him. He doesn't want, I'm good, I'm good. I'm like, you're not good. You're holding your side.
Yeah.
We have to learn that we can release from things and we can get better, even just in our mindset. But we got to stop lying. And I'm okay is a lie.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. One thing that I figured out too is that when my kids are coming to me or people in general and they're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing great." No, if I'm not doing good, I need to tell them because what I'm teaching my children is you have your body telling you this and you're verbally saying, "No, I'm okay." So then your body is in your mind
Confused.
they're like, what I don't know what I'm doing. Who am I? What am I? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
lie to yourself. Own it. Be like, you know what? Today, not doing so
Not
good.
a
It's
good day. Not a good
hopefully,
day.
you
And the
know?
thing is, it's just, I don't know. There's illness, there's scars, there's all these things, and then there's guilt. I still have guilt. I
Mm.
just recently started a medication, and I do feel guilt around the fact that because I hate medication so much and I've been on so much, that I didn't want to go on another medicine that they're telling me I have to be on for life. I didn't want to do that. There's guilt around the fact that I didn't do it for so long, and I feel so much better on it. In fact, look, I'm gonna have to finish this broadcast with you quick because I got to go to pharmacy and pick up a prescription. Listen, I'm so thrilled over this drug, and I don't mind saying I'm taking something for my thyroid after
Mm.
years and years of having guilt around needing that accommodation. I tried everything else. I will always try natural first because
Mhm.
that's how I was raised. But there are times when that's not it. So that's why I love EFT, because EFT layers on top of whatever you're doing. It doesn't counteract anything. There's no side effects. There's no, like, there's not going to be, it does this. And then, the commercial, but it also causes diarrhea, suicide, a headache, a migraine. You're not going to like your kids or your husband or your dog. And that's all part of the side effect. And you're like,
You're like,
did it help anything?
that's how I feel. That's like 100 times worse than what I'm dealing with right now. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So let's do this. Let's do this. I think it'd be kind of cool. We're almost about to wrap up. Why don't we give a little demo of what EFT is like?
Awesome.
Because I'm feeling like it could be cool. I always want to try and whenever we can interject a little bit, because if you've had a chronic illness, if you have a chronic illness, if you've had, overwhelming guilt for that or other reasons, you want to start trying to see how you can disconnect from it. So do you
Mm.
want to do it or should I? What do you want to do?
You know what? I think I'll let you lead today.
Oh, okay. All right. So the thing about EFT, and we'll go, if you can get our workbook, you can go to bit.ly/G2A LB1. And we go, it's a workbook, a free workbook, and it's going to break down all of what EFT and how to use it. And it's on the platform of limiting beliefs. But today we're going to break down about guilt, about
Mm.
how we feel about feeling guilty about being sick, right? Because we do often feel sick. So I'm not going to describe everything. Listen, if you can hear my voice, I would suggest you tap with us, because there's this amazing benefit of tapping along with someone. So even if it's not your, look at that, even if it's not your exact issue, um, you're going to get benefits. All right. And so without describing everything, let's go ahead and get started. Let me just make sure I don't hit my mic. Okay. So Morgan, you can, when you do this, you can either repeat in your minds or you can repeat um, out loud. Your choice. Your choice. All right.
I think
All
I'll do
right.
it.
Okay. All right. So I always like to start with a deep cleansing breath. Okay. Even though I feel guilty that I can't do everything I used to do,
Even though I feel guilty that I can't do everything that I used to do,
I deeply and completely accept myself where I am right now.
I deeply and completely accept myself where I am right now.
Even though
Even though
I feel like I should be able to do more,
I feel like I should be able to do more.
and I'm struggling with that guilt,
Ooh, and I'm struggling with that guilt.
right? I honor my, sometimes the things come to me, girl. Ooh, I honor my body for all that it does for me.
I honor my body for all that it does to me.
Even though
Even though
I feel guilt and frustration about not keeping up with who I used to be.
I feel guilt and frustration because I can't keep up with who I used to be.
I accept myself and I'm open to finding peace. Yeah. I accept myself
I accept myself
and I'm open to finding peace.
and I'm open to finding peace.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to take off my glasses because they're going to end up flying off. Oh, no, I can't, because I can't see you and I need to see you. I want to see your beautiful face while we do this. So what we're going to do now is go through the tapping transformation sequence, and we're going to just start, at the eyebrow point. So I feel so guilty that I can't do everything I used to.
I feel so guilty that I can't do everything that I used to.
Side of eye, I should be able to keep up, but I can't.
I should be able to keep up, but I can't.
Under the eye, this guilt and frustration about not being who I was.
This guilt and frustration about not being who I used to be.
Under the nose, I'm hard on myself for not doing enough.
I'm hard on myself for not doing enough.
Under the chin, I feel like I'm letting others down.
I feel like I'm letting other people down.
Collarbone, I'm a perfectionist and I have high expectations for myself.
I'm a perfectionist and I have high expectations for
It
myself.
gets you right. It gets you right. Under the arm, I often feel like I'm disappointing others.
I often feel like I'm disappointing others.
Okay. Top of head, this guilt makes me feel like it's hard to accept who I am right now.
This guilt makes me feel like it's hard to accept who I am right now.
Yeah. Let's do another round. So we always do at least 2 rounds. We're going to do 3 rounds right here. Let's do one more round toward the negative. We're going to acknowledge the negative. We're going to move through it. Eyebrow point. Maybe it's okay to slow down, even if I don't feel like that yet.
Maybe it's okay to slow down even if I don't feel like that quite yet.
I feel guilt, but what would it look like if I let it go?
What would it look like if I let this go?
Let me say it again. I feel guilt, but what would it look like if I let it go?
I feel guilt, but what would it look like if I let it go?
Under the eye, I'm doing the best that I can right now.
I'm doing the best that I can right now.
Under the nose, it doesn't look the way it used to,
It doesn't look the way it used to,
but that's okay.
but that's okay.
Collarbone, I honor my body.
I honor my body.
I will not feel guilty.
I will not feel guilty.
Under the arm, I deserve to ask for compassion,
I deserve to ask for compassion,
and I deserve to receive compassion.
and I deserve to receive compassion.
Top of head, I am allowed
I am allowed
to be exactly who I am
to be exactly who I am
without guilt.
without guilt.
How's that feel so far?
Mm,
It's powerful, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's try one more thing. So once we go, usually we would go through the negative a couple more times for sake of time going through that. I hope you're listening and tapping along with us. It's so powerful. Let's do a release transformation right now,
Okay.
right? So one of the things that we will typically do, we're going to ask you from 1 to 10, where are you feeling? Like how are you feeling? Are you at a 5? Are you at a 7, right? And how negative are you feeling? And then you should feel, because it's an energetic release by tapping, you should feel it start to release. So let's just imagine that you've gone from say a 9 to say a 6, which is pretty darn good. Let's now do some releasing. You're hearing a little feedback?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't quite pick up what you just said.
Yeah, I know. I was hearing a little feedback too. You may want to turn down your volume a little bit on your computer. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, so let's do this. Whew. I choose to release this guilt and embrace compassion.
I choose to release this guilt and embrace compassion.
Side of eye. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am worthy even if I can't do everything.
I am worthy even if I can't do everything.
Under the eye. Exactly as I am enough.
Exactly as I am enough.
Under the nose. I'm going to release this pressure to be my old self.
I'm going to release this pressure. What was the next part?
I release this pressure of being my old self.
I release this pressure of being my old self.
Yeah. Chin. I allow myself to find peace.
I allow myself to find peace.
Collarbone. I honor my body's needs without judgment.
I honor my body's needs without judgment.
Under the arm. I let go of guilt and welcome acceptance.
I let go of guilt and welcome acceptance.
Top of head. I deeply and completely love and respect myself, even though I have an illness.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself, even though I have an illness.
Now take a deep cleansing breath. And as my board says, which you may not be able to see, release and let it go.
Mhm.
There's so much, like I have chills and I let it. Like it's so powerful. EFT is a powerful thing. It's a powerful modality and it's easy to do. It's easy to learn. And we would love an opportunity to teach you. We're not going to spend as much time every single time. Other times we're only going to tap on the podcast. So it depends. If you know there's something in particular that you're like, I would love for you guys to talk about, not just as a topic, but also to tap on, then you can email us at tapping@gettingtoafter.com. Also, if you're interested in joining one of our tapping circles, we will have the link shortly, but for now you can email us and we'll get you into one of our sessions. Morgan, thank you.
Thank you. Like, even though I know we didn't plan to do that, but
I
I am
know.
so grateful we did because I'm like,
I know, right? It's like, it feels so good. And people don't know until they try it. It feels so good once you do it. I know. I
I
know.
didn't know what I was missing today.
I know.
Thank you so much, Chatone. This is wonderful.
I love getting to after. We're supporting and empowering women to have their transformation one tap at a time. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and definitely share. We have big goals for this podcast, and we really want to help you to not only just learn EFT, but all the other healing modalities that can help you get to your after. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.